for the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and today, as you guys know, is Wednesday, where we do White House Wednesdays. We talk with presidential candidates, and today we have somebody on the line. We have Justin Amash here with us, who's running for president as a Libertarian. Justin, welcome to the show.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
You know, one of the things we normally do, we go through candidates' backgrounds, but I know we've got a little bit limited time with you, so I figured I'd read off just a little bit about what I know about you, and then let you kind of fill in any of the gaps. So,
all right, sounds good.
Justin Amash is he is elected to the House of Representatives in Michigan's 3rd congressional district, and recently changed his party to Libertarian, making him the highest holding office as a Libertarian in the United States, which I know has really stirred up a lot of interesting media. People are excited, people are upset, and I'll kind of turn it over to you to fill in anything else you want to add to that.
Well, there are people both excited and some people upset, of course. And the people who are upset are the people who support one of the other two major candidates, Donald Trump or Joe Biden, because they know I've got a chance to shake this race up. And I looked at this race and saw a path to victory, and that's why I got in. I think people need their rights protected. And you have two candidates who aren't protecting people's rights. They are candidates who will continue our system the way it's going, and that's left people polarized. It's left people angry, and people don't feel like they have their same freedoms anymore. And we have to change that. We have to restore liberty to the people and allow people to make decisions for their own lives.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. And it's interesting that that you mentioned the two major parties and why they're upset. You know, I've been following your Twitter account for some time, and some of the comments to me were very interesting, because some people said that that you're running to make sure that Trump doesn't win. Usually that's coming from Republicans. Democrats are saying you're running to make sure that Trump does win. So it's a very interesting dynamic that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, they're all over the place with that, and depending on who you talk to, you get a different reaction to it. The truth is, I'm running to ensure that neither of them wins. We have to have someone in the White House who will end our wars, who will reform the criminal justice system, who will protect our privacy, who will stop civil asset forfeiture, who will get our budget in check and stop all this crazy spending. And you have two candidates right now running who won't do any of that. So we need an alternative. We need someone who's going to protect the people's rights. And that's what I'm about.
Awesome. So if you had to pick 3 policies that are your top policies that if you were to get elected, what would your top 3 policies be?
Well, a thing I focused on throughout my time in Congress is our budget and spending. I'm the most fiscally conservative member of Congress and have been over the last 10 years. And, you know, there are a couple other members who are pretty good, but most of the other ones are not very good at this. You know, we're spending money like crazy, and none of it's balanced, of course, with any offsets or anything else. And that's continuing under Donald Trump, and it will continue under Joe Biden. So I'm going to make sure that we get our budget in order, that we're not spending crazy amounts of money on anything. I mean, look at military spending even over the past decade. It went up under Barack Obama. It's going up under Donald Trump. Do we need a strong military? Of course. And we can have a strong military. We'd still have way more spending on our military if it weren't going up, a couple $100 billion like it's been going up over the past several years. And we focus on the wrong things with our military too. Let's have money go to the people who need the resources, the troops. Instead, we're wasting it on wars that are unnecessary, or building bases overseas that we don't even use. So that's an important issue for me. And I've segued into the second topic is war. It's not okay for wars to go on for 20 years, like we're seeing in Afghanistan. It's not okay to use an authorization from 2001 and say, oh, we're just going to keep this war going on forever. Congress has to reassert its authority over war, and it has to respect the rights of the people. The people have to have a say in this. And I will make sure that Congress does its job. I'm not going to allow these wars to continue without Congress asserting itself. If Congress wants to continue a war, then it had better take a vote and send an authorization to my desk. So that's really important. And then third, I would focus on things related to our rights, civil liberties, civil asset forfeiture, criminal justice reform, privacy. These are all issues I care a lot about. I've fought against the surveillance state. I've fought to protect people's property rights. It's not okay for someone to be stopped and then have their property taken from them without any conviction, without any real due process. And that's what happens under civil asset forfeiture. And you have President Trump who has expanded it, and Joe Biden is someone who has been on the wrong side of all of these issues, basically. On criminal justice, on civil asset forfeiture, on privacy. He's been on the wrong side of all of it. So we need someone who's going to go in there and protect people's rights, and that's what I intend to do.
Awesome. And I do want to dovetail off the rights thing, because I know you've caught just a little bit of flack lately, and I think it's a misunderstanding, to be honest, about your statement in regards to the protesters. And armed protesters in particular. And I heard what you said about it. I have my opinions on what you meant. But I was even reached out to by a couple people and said, hey, could you ask Justin Amash to clarify what he meant when he said, that being an armed protester wasn't sending the right message. And I think I know what you meant, but I wanted to give you a chance to clarify that.
Yeah, some people took what I said in one interview out of context. I've talked about this quite a bit. I fully support open carry in Michigan. I'm a huge supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm a huge supporter of gun rights, and I will protect gun rights 100% as president. I believe very strongly in it. It's a protection for the people, and it's a protection against the government, frankly. So I'm a strong supporter of gun rights. I do think that when people come into the Capitol with large weapons, they can send the wrong message. There are people at home who watch this and may be put off by it. So those of us who actually care about protecting our rights may be harmed by this, because there could be a backlash then. People say, well, what is this? People are open carrying weapons above legislators who are potentially voting on legislation. This is not right. So you're sending the wrong message just because we have a right, and I will fully support that right, and I fully support their right. But just because you have a right doesn't mean you should exercise it in a particular way or in every instance. You have to be mindful of how people will respond to you. We have all sorts of rights every day that we don't exercise. We are careful about it, or careful about how we exercise it, because we want to live together in a society and we want to influence people. We don't want to turn people away.
Yeah, so if I were to summarize what you're saying, it's not about the fact that they were exercising their rights. It's more about the optics and maybe even riling up more gun control advocates.
Yeah, I understand where they're coming from, and a lot of them say, well, this is the point of the right. We want to make sure that the government knows we're here and all that. I get that. I get what you're saying. But what you're doing is actually scaring a lot of other people in Michigan, and you turn people off in a way that then maybe turns back our gun rights, where others then run a ballot initiative to try to deny open carry and things like that. So I just want us to be careful and mindful about how we exercise our rights.
Awesome. Very good. Now, I think we've got about 30 seconds before we go to break here, but with everything you're saying here, protecting Second Amendment rights, does that mean you would roll back something like a bump stock ban?
Yeah, I don't think the bump stock ban is really useful or helpful. People could 3D print a bump stock, so it doesn't make that much of an impact. I think it was more of a symbolic gesture, and I would roll stuff like that back.
Awesome. Very good. Well, guys, we are going to take our first break of the hour. You are listening to Justin Amash, who's running for president as a Libertarian candidate. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be back in a moment.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
College Assistance Plus has worked with thousands of families, saving them millions of dollars. It can be stressful choosing the right college, but we're here to help. CA Plus will guide you from college visits to college graduation and through every step in between. Each student and family situation is different, and we work to accommodate those specific needs. Call today for a free family meeting, 585-582-1846, or visit collegeassistanceplus.com for more information. College is expensive. College Assistance Plus can help.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free, ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We have Justin Amash here with us, who's running for president for the 2020 election as a Libertarian, generating a lot of interest and happy people, excited people, and some upset people too, which I think means your campaign's probably off to a good start.
Hey, Andrew. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, the fact that people are so riled up I think is a good sign. I mean, people are interested. Some people are concerned because they know that we're going to take votes from people they took for granted. And that's not the way the American system is supposed to work. Let's put people out there on the ballot and give people choices. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I have always pushed for more competition in elections. I think more competition really holds elected officials and those running for office accountable. I do want to ask you a couple questions, one of which is a question that I'm hearing from a lot of libertarians, some independents, and people, especially in New York State, who watched the last gubernatorial election. And that question is, as a libertarian running for president, you're going to have a vice presidential candidate. And would you consider Larry Sharpe as that vice presidential candidate?
I'd certainly consider Larry, and I've talked a little bit to Larry, and I know he's running, and he's running a strong campaign. And I've talked to some other people too, some of them who are candidates and some who are not candidates yet. I think the delegates of the Libertarian Party really need to have a lot of influence here in terms of who the choice is. At the same time, when you run a ticket, the ticket has to be cohesive. You have to run a presidential candidate and a vice presidential candidate who get along, who are on the same wavelength and can put out the same message. If you have people at odds with each other, that creates a problem too. So it's important just that we have someone who can get the message out to the American people and broaden the coalition. It's not just going to be diehard libertarians that we have to reach out to. We have to reach out to all Americans.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, which actually brings me to my next question, which would be, if you were elected president of the United States as a libertarian, essentially an independent, a third party, how are you going to work with Democrats and Republicans in Congress to get stuff done? Do you envision them just totally stonewalling you and not being able to get stuff done, or how are you going to make that work?
Well, how they react to me will be up to them, but I will reach out a hand to all of them. I've always done that. I've been a very independent Republican in Congress, and then I became a full independent, and now I'm serving as a Libertarian in Congress. And at each stage, I've been very happy to work with Republicans and Democrats when we have commonality on an issue. So if we agree on something, of course, we get together. And when we disagree, I'm the kind of person who will sit down with you and spend some time discussing it, and we'll try to resolve it if we can, and if not, we'll be polite and respectful about the issue. I'm not going to, hammer people like the way the president does if they don't agree with him on a particular piece of legislation. That's not my style. I'll work with people, I'll reach out to people, and it's going to have to be a team effort. The president can't do everything. And part of the reason I'm running is to limit the president's power. Congress has to legislate. So I want Congress to do its job. I want Congress to represent the people, unlike the way it works now, where a couple of leaders just come to the White House and negotiate everything directly with the president. I'm going to tell leaders, no, you're not negotiating directly with me. You're going to go back to your chambers, the House and Senate, and you're going to work with your own legislators so that you can represent the people. And then you bring your legislation to me, and then I can decide whether I'm going to sign it or veto it. And over time, they're going to get a sense for where I am on these issues, and they will start to adjust accordingly. And I'll use the position of the White House to get the message out about what we should be doing. But I'm not going to write the legislation for the legislators. I'm not going to force my hand on them. They're going to have to legislate and make decisions for the people.
Awesome. So that you hit a couple issues there. One is veto, right? And you will at times not be in agreement with Congress, and you'll probably have to veto some stuff. What type of stuff do you think would be something that you'd veto?
Well, there's potentially lots of things that could be vetoed. One of the things that I see as an immediate potential for a veto would be spending bills. The spending bills are insane. And we can't continue to spend like there's no tomorrow. We have to be concerned about the next generation. And right now, what happens is they add more and more money to every bill. Everyone gets a piece of it. when what they call a compromise is just each side adding more money. So they say, okay, well, we'll be less fiscally conservative, we'll be reckless, and you guys be more reckless, and we'll call it a deal. And I'm not going to accept that. If they want to compromise, then they can compromise by cutting spending, by finding ways to reduce the size and scope of the federal government. We still have state governments and local governments. If the federal government's not doing something, state and local governments can be involved in it if it's appropriate under those state constitutions. We should allow people to make decisions closer to home. But the advantage of doing it under state law versus federal law is that the state governments have to balance their budgets. The federal government doesn't have to balance its budget right now. So you can force some fiscal sanity by pushing things to the state level where they are probably more appropriate, because our federal constitution actually doesn't allow that many, it doesn't have that many powers given to Congress or given to the executive branch. So we can push things back to the state level where they're more appropriate.
Very good. And, you know, if you were to get elected in November, something that you're probably going to inherit is an economy that's in shambles due to the current crisis we're going through. What steps do you envision you would take, you know, even if the virus wasn't a factor, to boost and improve the American economy?
Well, you boost the American economy by getting out of the way. The federal government is too involved in things. You can even see it in this coronavirus relief package that was just passed, the last two packages, where they have a huge convoluted system that's set up that benefits big corporations primarily at the expense of everyone else. And then they got the Federal Reserve involved to create money out of thin air, which is just robbery from the people. And then they say, well, this is the solution. This is how we resolve everything. It's not going to fix things. You can see what the government is doing right now. It's actually creating an increase in the gap between the rich and the poor. It's enriching people on Wall Street. At the same time, it's hurting millions of Americans. So the solution is to get government out of the way and let people keep their own money and let people make decisions for their own lives and let people adapt. And then to the extent you have a situation like a shock where we had COVID-19, if you're going to do anything, you get money directly to the people who need it. You don't send it through banks and through the Federal Reserve and through Steve Mnuchin and create convoluted programs. You don't do it that way. So keep it simple, get government out of the way, and when people really need the help, you get money directly to the people. You get those barriers out of people's way so they can actually get the help they need.
Awesome. You know, you're really good on budget issues, Second Amendment issues, individual rights. Sounds like you want a smaller federal government. We've got about 3 minutes left. What do you think about education? 2 minutes left, actually. But what do you think about the federal government's interaction with education? What should be happening there? What do you envision doing?
I'd get the federal government out of education. I've co-sponsored legislation to abolish the Department of Education at the federal level. Sometimes people hear that and they say, well, there's not going to be any Department of Education anymore. Well, we're talking about the federal Department of Education. There are still state departments of education. And while I think the best education decisions are made closest to home, people in states can make decisions about their education system. And it doesn't have to be at the federal level. And the problem with having it at the federal level is it doesn't help students. It doesn't help our education system. All that happens is money is funneled into D.C., it's spread around among a bunch of bureaucrats, then they write some rules and they attach some strings, and then they send a portion of the money back to the states. And now your whole education system is mired with these federal rules, and it also ties up teachers with a bunch of federal rules, so it hurts teachers. And then you get pennies on the dollar back, and your whole system is recreated in the image of the federal government. And I don't think that's okay. And we're talking about only 10% of education spending anyways. Like here in the state of Michigan, 90% of the funding is from the state, 10% roughly is from the federal government.
All right, guys, you are listening to Justin Amash running for president in the 2020 election as a Libertarian. Justin, thank you so much for joining us. We have to cut over to break now, guys, so we'll be back in a moment.
Now, more than twice the power. More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Clearing skies, a little frosty out there. Temps dropping into the mid-30s. On Thursday, a bit of sunshine in the morning, then clouds increase in the upper 50s. Some showers will arrive late in the day, some showers Thursday night. Cool, mostly cloudy on Friday. Could be some late-day showers of rain and wet snow with temps in the 40s. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Before you vote, remember, Democrats wanted to fine American citizens for not having health insurance. Then they voted to give it to illegal aliens for free. Let that sink in.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Hi, Tom Hamilton here, President of Hamilton Wealth Management. This whole COVID-19 situation can really kick us hard when we're already down. I've been a financial advisor for nearly a quarter century, and I have to say this is the most difficult economic crisis I've ever seen. But how do you think Americans felt during the Depression, during the two world wars, when the financial markets collapsed in 2008? I can tell you how they felt. They were devastated and felt hopeless, just how we feel now. But you know what? Each time when the future looked so bleak, America recovered, the world recovered, and I have to add, the markets recovered. I believe with all my being that America will come back from this too. Don't let the spreaders of fear and hopelessness turn us against each other. Help any business you can in the local community. They've been there for us for a long time. We want them back when this is over. Let's look out for each other. That's not the government's job, and they would most certainly screw it up if it was. It's up to me, to you, to all of us, to help each other through this. Get back to work when you can, and let's beat this thing.
Hi, this is Gary Mervis. During these difficult times, we know that many people are hurting financially with the loss of jobs and tighter finances. However, if you find yourself in a position to donate, your financial help is needed now more than ever for children and families Camp Good Day serves, as the circumstances have caused us to postpone our fundraisers and events. During this current COVID-19 pandemic, people are unfortunately still being told that they have been diagnosed with cancer. If you are able to help by donating either through our website, campgooddays.org, or by mailing in a check, it would be much appreciated. If we all do our part to get through COVID-19, I know we will come out stronger than ever.
New York State is to be quarantined until May 15th. That leaves only 10 days for you to be ready to swing into summer living by Memorial Day. Get ready for summer outdoor living by calling Springwater Amish Workshop at 585-490-8124, 585-490-8124, or email amishworkshop@frontier.com. Make an appointment to purchase or order the finest picnic tables, rocking chairs, gliders, and swings of pressure-treated wood, hickory, or polyvinyl, as well as decorative accessories like wishing wells, lighthouses, windmills, and well covers. Now is the time to order poly furniture in the color combination you desire. Springwater Amish Workshop, 7936 Mill Street, Springwater. Call 490-8124.
Show World is open for pick it up. Pick it up. Power to the phone. Grab your telly, tell us what you want. All you need to do is pick it up, pick it up. You can't come in, no worries, just dial up. You don't need a truck, pick up. Unless you order loads and mounds of stuff. Pull up, drive up, load up, pick up. We'll take your call, we'll pick up. 11 to 7, Monday through Saturday, Sunday noon to 6. Henrietta, Mount Read, Waterloo, Show World, pick up.
Has your favorite pizza place been letting you down? Try Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery in Avon. Not only is their pizza amazing, but their full menu and bakery has something for everyone. Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery, Avon.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. And I've got Bob Savage here with me now as well.
You've got Bob Savage right here.
Got Bob Savage. So we just wrapped up an interview with Justin Amash, who is running for president on the Libertarian ticket, a candidate that has some friends, has some enemies, I think is the best way to describe him. What would you think, Bob?
I think it's fantastic. Go, Justin! Love it.
There you go. Yep. I gotta say,
not by the way that because okay, now you asked me, okay,
yep.
So don't get mad at me.
Yep.
He's I'm just glad that he's out of the Republican camp and is, now he can snipe at everything that Donald Trump does, from the peanut gallery. So that's fine. Yeah, and I think that he has all the potential of doing a lot more damage to the Democrats in the upcoming contest. But
it's interesting because I've seen some people discuss this, and what some people have said, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it seems plausible enough, that Justin Amash's campaign, if he is indeed the Libertarian nominee, will essentially collect all of the never Trump Republicans and pull them away from Joe Biden. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's an interesting perspective on the situation.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is it's all speculation at this point. So, are you talking about the Monmouth poll that just came out? I just pulled up just before we went on. There was a Monmouth poll that shows that, I don't know, I think that he's, right now Amash is polling, 5%? And I think Biden is polling 50% to Trump's 41%, which is... right there, there's a huge gaping credibility hole in that poll result. I personally think it's ridiculous to say that Joe Biden is going to outpoll Donald Trump at this point. But I know that's, look, the polls have been wildly wrong about Donald Trump in the past. So why would we expect it not to continue?
Yeah. And actually, to be honest, I hadn't seen the poll. So I can't speak to it.
I'll try to pull it up as we talk about it here.
Yeah. And to be honest, and like you said, polls, and we actually talked about it earlier in the week, you got to look at the sample that was taken from the poll, how many people are polled, look at those crosstabs, see how many people dropped off question by question, because polls can be used to tell whatever story you want to tell.
All right. I got it here. Let's see. It's Fox News. Amash's possible Libertarian White House bid not resonating with voters, according to a poll. He grabs 5% of support in a potential general election matchup with Trump and presumptive Democrat nominee Joe "Where Are My Dentures" Biden, according to a new national survey released Wednesday. I ad-libbed a little bit there. Former vice president tops the GOP incumbent in the White House by 50 to 41% margin in a general election showdown. Amash becomes first Libertarian in Congress as he launches long-shot White House bid. That is big news for you guys, though. That he's the first.
It's huge news.
Libertarian.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you add Amash in as a Libertarian candidate, the race stands at Biden 47, Trump 40, Amash 5. And this is the Monmouth poll. So Gary Johnson, last time out, former New Mexico governor, started his presidential bid as a Libertarian with 11% support. So, so far, things look a little dark there for Justin.
Yeah, and I think some of that is going to be, I mean, the things that he stands for, and by kind of taking partisanship out of it, I think that we're going to expect that. One of the things that I really enjoyed was just how direct he was in answering the questions, and I know that level of directness really makes people upset.
I
They don't like
apologize. I apologize, by the way. I didn't hear all of your interview with him. I heard like the last 10 minutes of it in and out because there was other things happening. But
Yeah, yeah. No, he was pretty good. He was good on education for sure. It definitely, budget sounds like one of his biggest issues based on the interview. It sounds like budget is just huge for him. The amount that our government is spending, how big the federal government is, sounds like that is definitely his top issue. Actually, he listed it as his first issue, so that makes a lot of sense. Definitely a supporter of the Second Amendment. It sounds like based on the interview, and a number of other things too. So I was pretty happy with the answers he gave. I would certainly consider voting for him.
well, it's a bright spot for the Libertarian Party for sure that you have a member of Congress now.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. We're gonna go ahead and shift gears back to New York State now.
Please.
And I found this just kind of entertaining article. It wasn't meant to be entertaining, by the way. I'm just gonna throw that out there. About New York City shutting down the subway. And the reason that they're doing this, they're closing it down from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. to sanitize and clean the subway cars. And the thing that caught my attention was somebody commented and said, "Wait, does that mean New York City hasn't been cleaning the subway cars since then?"
The whole thing is so ridiculous. What a waste of time. That's great. Now the subway cars and the subway environs, ladies and gentlemen, will be COVID-free till 5:22 a.m. every day. Isn't that great?
Yeah, there you go. You know, but what did stand out to me, besides the funny, snarky comment that definitely had me chuckling and decided that we were going to talk about this, I went and I listened to one of Cuomo's press releases and or press conferences, and one of the reporters asked about the subways. You know, and this is the MTA for those of you who maybe hear the MTA and didn't realize that's that public transit system down in New York City. Cuomo said ridership is down 92%. They only have about 8% of the population riding the MTA right now.
Well, everything's
And
shut down. What's the reason to ride the subway?
exactly. And so this really got me thinking here about, well, did we reduce costs running the MTA by 98% or 92% or more? Is the MTA going to need another giant upstate bailout as a part of this? And it really got me thinking about budgeting and how I can almost guarantee you that next year in next year's budget they're going to want more money from upstate to bail out the MTA yet again, because I'm sure they've mismanaged this whole system.
Oh, everything is going to need bailouts. First of all, I don't know if we talked about this. Did we talk about the $2 trillion stimulus program? Did we talk about how much of that money went to the actual voters? 4%. Just so you know. And if you look at the itemization of the 96% that went for political purposes, you have, I'm trying to find here, $492 million went to the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, also known as Amtrak. $492 million, but that's okay. $526 million additional grants to Amtrak will remain available if needed through 2021, which you can just take that not to the bank. You know that Amtrak's going to want that $526 million. So you're over $1 billion going to Amtrak out of the $2 trillion stimulus that just came out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stories about giant corporations and even educational institutions who are highly successful, have a ton of money, very profitable, who received millions and millions and millions of dollars in relief money when small mom and pop businesses can't even get a response from the SBA or even a confirmation that their application.
Yeah, but Andrew, that's out of the money that was distributed. The 4%, the grants that you're talking about, the loans you're talking about, came out of the 4% that actually went to the folks. This is the 96%.
Oh, wow.
96% that did not go to anybody but government programs, like $13 million to Howard University. Let's see, $40 billion to the Take Responsibility to Workers and Families Act. Looks like that's direct payments for workers. Then you had, you'll love this, $720 million went to the Social Security Administration, but only $200 million went to help people. The rest, that would be $520 million, $500 million, went for administrative costs.
Wait, so how much went to the Social Security Administration?
$720 million.
And was that salaries for government workers? Was that for healthcare costs? What do they have a breakdown for that?
It says here $720 million went to the Social Security, but $200 million of it went to help people. The $520 remaining went for administrative costs.
Wow. You know, and this just really highlights the big issue that we have with government in general, and big government specifically, because you have an organization who was created, whether or not I agree with it or not is a different story and a different topic, but this organization was created to essentially help people and distribute services and finances to taxpayers, right? And what this organization is doing is taking, what was that, close to 60% of the money just to pay salaries to staff to hand the money out.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, and by the way, also in here, we have $25 million for additional salary for the House of Representatives and $9 million for miscellaneous Senate expenses.
Yeah. See, this is an issue, guys. We got to be paying attention to this. We got to be calling out our elected officials, get on the phone, yell at them about this. This is not okay. This isn't right. Guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. When we come back from break, we're going to talk about CDC adjusting the COVID-19 death counts over this weekend. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
The Rochester area franchise dealers are here to help their customers through these trying times. Service departments and collision centers are open. Vehicle sales are initially done remotely by telephone or electronic means until you're ready to visit the dealership and take delivery of your vehicle. Proper social distancing and cleaning protocols are followed at all dealerships. Please contact your preferred dealer to schedule sales or service appointments for a safe check-in, drop-off, or pickup process. Be safe and know the franchise dealers are here for you, Rochester.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just very pleased to be able to tell you that for the final segment here of Radio Free New York, you'll be able to understand Andrew because he didn't realize he had not one, but two COVID masks on. And so it was making him sound a little bit like this, but he's all better now.
I'm all better now.
Look at
masks
that!
removed.
It's
yep.
great.
Here I am. So I'm going to admit this on air. I appreciate the save, Bob. But so for those of you listening to the show and you're like, wow, Andrew sounds so much clearer now. You might recall that I've been doing most of the shows, actually all of the shows for the last few weeks from home, different setup, different microphone, different everything. Today I came in studio because my microphone or my internet's been giving me trouble at home. I wanted to make sure we've got stable connection, and my studio is totally empty. I'm the only one here. Nobody else is here. Well, the microphone was disconnected because we were doing some rearranging just before the virus, and my microphone doesn't have a front or back to it. And I think the microphone was pointed the wrong direction the whole entire show, which is pretty embarrassing, but we're all human, and I'm here to admit it. So,
well, that's very charming. Hey, before you get started on the CDC, can I just jump in here and just point something out, as long as we're talking about all things COVID?
Absolutely.
There's the Andy Show every day around 12 noon, where Cuomo goes on with his interminable lectures with the condescending attitude that he always has. I just could not help but notice, and one of my coworkers here at the station noticed, Andy's got a fresh haircut. And I don't know about you, the last haircut I had was in early March, and I'm starting to look like the station sheepdog Alfie these days. This is to provide counterpoint to this whole thing. We have this hairdresser in Dallas, this Shelley Luther. I don't know if you've followed this story. She hasn't been able to, her salon has been ordered closed. Anyway, she was slapped with fines and then a restraining order from the city of Dallas. Now, this is in Texas, ladies and gentlemen, which is definitely a red state. Now she has been jailed by this arrogant judge. He has thrown her in the clink for 7 days for trying to run her business because literally her hairstylists on her staff are going hungry so their kids can eat. And so just, I want everybody to remember, we get all indignant about this stuff when it happens, and then we tend to forget about it. Don't forget about this. Everybody, remember November when you get to that ballot box. Don't reelect these jerks.
Yeah. And one of the things I think is really important to emphasize here is that government control is obviously too heavy-handed, right? We know that. That's clear. But a lot of these industries identified the risk and found a way to carry things out socially, or not just socially, but safely, in a safe way that really minimizes risk. Now, you could look at people have face shields, people have masks, people are sanitizing between things, and it really comes down to consent. If you're a low-risk individual and you're interacting with another low-risk individual, and and understand that they might have the virus and they might have no symptoms and they may be infectious, but you as an adult voluntarily make that decision to interact with that individual, that should be up to your right. That should be your choice. And I'm not saying this to say that we should be insensitive to people who are afraid. And I'm not saying that we should be cavalier with people who are at high risk. What I'm saying is people who are at high risk should make the decision to not interact with people who they think would bring risk to them. And I think that they're making those decisions themselves. You know, people are choosing not to see their grandchildren. They're choosing not to go shopping. They're relying on door delivery or somebody else to shop on their behalf anyways. And people at lower risks are going and shopping at places like Wegmans and Aldi's and Walmart and other stores like that. People are doing it anyways. The only thing that is really happening here is government saying, I know better than you. I'm taking away your ability to consent, and I'm telling you where you can and cannot go. That is literally the only difference that's going on here.
Yeah, and in this connection, by the way, I would like to steer everybody to a piece that's in the Democrat and Chronicle e-edition. There's an article there which is entitled, Behind the Protests, There Are Two Americas. And this caught my attention because it was written by Glenn Harlan Reynolds, who's a professor at my law school, where I went to University of Tennessee Law School. It's a special to USA Today, and again, the title is Behind the Protests, There Are Two Americas. So basically, what he's pointing out, what Glenn is pointing out is there's starting to be some cracks that are starting to appear between the two Americas. On the one hand, we have the ruling elites, the technocrats, the people who've got life covered no matter what happens anyway, and they are lecturing, the little people like you folks listening to the radio right now, or I suppose presumably Andrew and me, about how we need to live and how we need to endure privation and how we need to just put on the happy face that is prescribed to us by mass media, which of course has become essentially a propaganda arm of the statists. And we're getting mad about it. Yeah. And this is not going to end well. So you need to really start rattling the cages of these elected officials and telling them that their day is coming.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really hope that people are starting to pay attention because they have nothing else to do at home at this point. So I really hope that people are starting to take the time to look and see what their elected officials are doing. Don't get me wrong. Some are doing good things. They're few and far between. And now is the time to truly hold people accountable. We've got, 6 months until elections. It's 180 days. You're going to have maybe 12 people on your ballot max. You've got 180 days to spend an hour on each of those people and see, what are they doing? Are they doing things that align with your values? Are they doing things that directly oppose your values? Who's competing with them? What are their stances? How do their stances align with your values? And really take a look at this and make the decision to get up, go out and vote your conscience. Vote for the person who you think is going to best represent you. And don't vote based on who you think has a possibility of winning, who has a better shot. Don't create some weird strategy in your head as to how you're going to impact votes, because that's what's gotten us to where we are. Instead, you need to sit there and say, if I vote my conscience and everybody around me votes their conscience, then we can have true impact in shaping the direction of your town, your county, your state, your federal government, and actually create the future that you envision for your children.
Yeah, no question about it. And the first step, too, by the way, is to register and get, as Andrew has just pointed out, get informed.
Yep, absolutely. So, guys, I missed the CDC thing. Deaths were listed at 68,000. Now they're down to 44. Maybe
Whoops.
Kevin might cover that tomorrow. I don't know. Thanks for listening to Radio Free New York. We'll be back, same time, same place tomorrow.